Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Encrypted Connections. I am your host, Kyle. Welcome back. I don't know what is going on. Is that my phone? Yep, that's my phone. I apologize for that. I was getting feedback from my phone. I don't know why it's even on. Okay, there we go. Unprofessional. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Again, I feel like it's been a while. Life happens, these stuff happens. Sometimes you can't control it, yada, yada. Briefly, I'm going to just give you a brief rundown real quick. I'm not going to take long about what happened when I went up to the couple's property. So they don't want any recognition. They want to remain anonymous. They're very reluctant about this whole thing. They don't want anyone to know. They're kind of old school. They're an older couple, and he is kind of raised, a quiet country boy. And if you know anything about the culture there, and even in this area, this is stuff that's not really talked about often. So you have to be careful with these things where, you don't want to go in like a bull in a china shop, and you don't want to be pulling out your camera and winging it everywhere and, get somebody in the shot. And so it's this kind of balancing thing. It's feeling things out, seeing how they go. And very nice folks when we spoke. And I can't say anything bad about them. They're wonderful. He just is, like I said, he's very reluctant, but there is evidence there. There is audio evidence. There is physical evidence in the way of footprints, possibly some other stuff. The audio stuff I'm trying to upload onto the computer still. I don't have a program right now that works. Audacity doesn't work on my computer, even the Linux version, for whatever reason. So I'm trying to figure that out, but we'll get it all figured out. That's not a problem. Don't worry about that. Just may take, a few days. And we have the green light to go up again. And we're going to do that probably this weekend. It's going to be exciting. I'm praying that this is the thing that I've been looking for so long, that this is that proverbial needle in a haystack, that everybody who gets into this kind of dreams of finding private property with activity that's ongoing, that you can continue to interact with. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here in the chat. I love you guys all. I'm not going to name you all tonight because we don't have all the time in the world tonight. So let me get right into this. Speaking of somebody with activity on private property that is ongoing, our good friend Dark Woodz is back with us tonight to discuss some of these pictures that he sent me before. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Kyle. Hi, chat. How you guys doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very happy to have you here again, man. So yeah, the last time you were on, we discussed a lot of stuff. But what we did not get to was the pictures. And I do have the pictures. So I'm going to start right away because this some of this stuff is crazy. Now, one thing, okay, one thing I want to say this, and if you've watched the show, you know this about me. You know that I'm not the greatest at picking out things in pictures, especially when it's not very clear. I'm just not good at it. Like I don't have the eyes for that. Some people do, some people don't. I don't have the eyes for it. I also, because of the position I'm in, usually tend to be a little cautious about things, right? But that being said, there are things in some of these pictures that I can't be cautious about because what I see is what I see. So we're going to get to those things. Let me pull one of these pictures up right now. I'm going to start with my favorite because, uh, man, we talked about this on the last show, and this thing is creepy and very weird. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. There was quite a few, so where are you? Is this you? This is you. Yep. Okay, and now I need to present, share, screen, share screen, and here we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So I just want to say something and I'll let you go through it. The very first thing that I saw when I looked at this picture was that bottom right circle.
Yeah.
That to me is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. Now, I wasn't there. I didn't take this picture. I can't speak to what was going on or what happened. I can only speak to what I'm looking at right now. I know people say pareidolia. Okay, possibility. But what I see in that picture does not look like pareidolia. That looks to me like a face. There is a
Yeah.
dark there's a dark eye that looks like it's like hollow or deep set. There's a pointy chin, a pointy nose, a very 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 creepy smirk. I mean, what in the hell? What
It
in the
looks like
hell?
theater masks, just laying on the forest floor. But I guarantee there's no mask out there.
No, gosh, no. There was no mask. There's no way, man. That's so scary, dude.
So
And
we
now,
have a snapshot of faces here, and in the photo, we've counted up to 36 different faces. And there's probably more.
oh
And
my
there's-
god,
remember, I told you about that encounter with the female dogman and pup and the male dogman and a Sasquatch all in the group,
I do.
and that they apparently teleported into the woods behind the house. And the woods that they were in wasn't even the woods that I have back here. So a section of forest, either a veil opened up or they all teleported in with a piece of their reality. But this is what's bizarre is in the photo there's aspects of bizarre things like these faces in there. And those are so crisp and clear, it's hard to even consider it. It'd be um, Olympic pareidolia. It's just it's just insane.
Yeah, I hear you. That it's just. I mean, yeah, I can't. When I look at this picture, I can't take my eyes off the bottom one. That to me is just. I don't know. Something about it really freaks me out, man. Really freaks me out.
And that circle that's right above it, the yellow one, that's that tree stump one. That's a crazy looking face. It looks like something carved it out and it was like animated at the time that I took the photo.
Yeah, you know what I keep. Uh, I'm trying to think of what the hell it reminds me of. There was oh, what was that movie? There was a movie, and it was like kind of a, I don't know if it was like a claymation type of movie, but there was a tree in the movie that had a face on it, like that. It also kind of reminds me of the trees from the Wizard of Oz too. You remember those?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what
It is
that's what.
strange. But I mean, like
Um,
I said, I don't know if I was able to see through the veil and the camera actually took a picture of it. And if that's the case, I mean, on the other side, I would imagine there's more spirituality there. And, we're in the flesh and we live in the world and we do worldly things. We're like far from some of these spiritual aspects. And we have no concept of, what's on the other side or what happens after we die. We have a general idea, but I can imagine that there's a lot of things we could hardly wrap our minds around, our physical minds in this world. And this may be some evidence that'll give a clue to what it's like.
yeah, man. I was just having this discussion earlier about the different types of energies and beings that there are out here in the universe and in our world. With Joe from Hellbent Holler, um, they're currently investigating a case that's very similar to like what you have going on at your house. There's just this cornucopia of weird activity. um, Luckily for you guys, none of yours has been malevolent. Like apparently
Right.
this gentleman's got some really, really bad juju going on down there. But it just it speaks to how many different things are out there where people have encounters with things that they believe are Sasquatch, right? They don't see it,
Hmm.
but they have an encounter, something that happens, and they think that it's a Sasquatch because they've heard someone talk about it or they want to believe it is or whatever. And in reality, it could be any number of other things. It could be a dog man. It could be something that's more on the paranormal side. It could be something that's in the dark energy realm. It's just hard to tell unless you have some kind of real solid proof. When I look at this and I see that face at the bottom, it's scary to me. I mean, that to me doesn't look like a nice entity at all. Do you now? Do you remember when you took this picture? Do you remember if you had any weird feelings or?
Oh, the only thing that happened to me when right prior to taking that photo, because I had no idea that anything was out there, the group of cryptids that were out there, or forest people as I call them. The only thing that I noticed when I first entered the area was that that mental intrusion I had, which I discounted right away because I thought that's just silly, that's not real. But it came back really strong, and it was not mind speak, but it was like a knowing that something was telling me something was over to my left. And I got extremely serious and high alert, and made a decision to go as close as I could over that way. Cause I thought about just leaving, but I was like, man, I got to find out what this is. So I went over as close as I could in a specific way and took a photo. And after, all I saw was I thought was a bear at the time because we have black bear up here, and but the whole situation was bizarre, kind of supernatural with the mine intrusion. But I
Mhm.
could see something black physical behind a bunch of trees, and I just focused on that, and that was the female dog man, and the rest of the crew that was there. I had no idea until later on, when we were investigating more photos because I posted that picture of the female dogman on Facebook, and a lady by the name of Robin McCrae,
Yeah.
she's very up there in knowledge with a lot of different things and works with energy, and she was the one that told me there's a dogman pup next to the female, and I'm like, no way. Then that's what made us start investigating the photo, and I've learned a ton of things Like I said, I made a physical landmark reference during the time before I made that photo because I wanted to come back the next day to check for tracks. And when I went back there, I knew exactly where I took the photo, and I could not find the landmarks, the tree structures that I mentally put on my brain. This is where I was. And according to the photo, none of the woods there exist. I don't even, I have no explanation for that except for some kind of different reality appeared back there. And Robin McCrae and Jessica Jones, without me telling each other, they both remote viewed the back area here and they said there was floating portals back here. But across the street is an anchored portal. And that's where I think there's a lot of bad juju because I hear a lot of bad things going on back over there. And that's in a swamp. And from my understanding, the forest people here guard that anchored portal because a lot of different things bad can come through there. Now, I guess that's their duty to take care of that. And I actually heard something, geez, for about 5 or 10 minutes, a massive fight over there, you know.
Crazy,
So
man.
yeah, it is. Sometimes you just get caught off guard, and it's pretty insane.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So let me get to some of these other ones now. Let me go back into my folder here and flip through. All right, what's this? All right, so to me, okay, I'm gonna. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm gonna tell you what I see. Um, I can't. Again, I'm not the best at this. I can't see any physical features really, but what I do see are two pointed ears.
Right.
Am I right?
You are correct. If you ever get a chance, like people in chat, if you screenshot this photo here, you could probably zoom in on it and get a better detailed view. But there is two canine ears. This is a type 1 variant from what I understand, type of dogman. It looks like it has more of a wolf's head, but it's right now in that photo, it's about 4.5 feet tall and it's crouching down. And there's a knee that's bent out to the side that you can see, and that's how I can tell it was crouched down. But
I feel like I can almost starting to see what looks like its snout right down at the bottom of that opening
yeah,
there where if you came straight down
yep,
from the left ear almost, it looks like that might be the snout, the nose.
yep, that's the snout, and you can see a little bit of the nose. There's a white branch that coincidentally goes across both eyes on that head.
Yeah, I
But
can see that.
yep. But what's really impressive, if you look to the right of the head on the photo, you'll see a dark spot on the backside of a tree it's next to.
Yep.
Those are actually fingers, not not paws. You can see claws on the fingers, so it's holding itself upright on the side of that tree while it was crouching down.
Jeez
And this is
Louise.
a photo that I did in a blue filter and a white filter to get more details out because she was jet black and a lot of things blur, you know, under a black contrast, you know.
Sure.
So I had to do some filtering to actually get really good details out of it.
Right. Which is common. I mean, this is the nature of what all these creatures are out there is that they they blend in with their surroundings. You know, you take a picture in color, there's been bound to be blacks and dark spots and brown spots and all this stuff that makes them kind of wash out. So most of the time people do have to go through filtering and all that to try to bring out some of the definition and the you know, the outline and all that stuff.
Right. Now this is the first person that was, I believe, the one who reached out to me with the mind speaker, whatever that was.
This one.
This one. Yep.
Jeez Louise. This is just crazy.
Now that's
Um,
photograph number 3. If you had photograph 2, you could look at it later on. That's the original photograph, and you'll see better the body proportions on it because there's no filtration on it.
Let me scroll back and see what this one is. Some of them, is this it? No, that's 4. Well, let's go to 4. What's this? What am I looking at here?
Okay, so we seen the female dog man. So this is off to her right. And that is a young pup that's up in a tree about 5 feet, and it's peeking its head around the tree looking straight at me. And I did those in 2 different filters so you can see better details. But when you blow it up, you can actually see the eyes and everything on there, the nose.
Oh crap, I see it now.
Yeah.
I see it now. Yeah, okay. So yeah, one of the ears is kind of pointing out.
Mhm.
The head's slightly tilted. I could see the dark nose at the end of the snout, and then there's even some light around the eyes, possibly.
Yeah, yeah.
So crazy, man.
Now keep in mind when we look at all these photos, all those trees and everything, they don't exist behind my house where I took that photo. So you're looking at trees from somewhere else.
That's so trippy, man.
It is. It's hard to wrap my mind around.
That is so bugged out. Jeez Louise. Man, it's just it doesn't matter how many times how much I read or research or investigate or uh, it just I'm never not um, I'm never not surprised, right? I'm always surprised because there's just so much that you that we don't have a handle on.
That's right.
There's just so much, man, and even the things that I think that I think we thought we had a handle on. There's even so many more layers to those. We only have a handle on just the
That's
surface
right.
of anything.
Yeah, we're still infants on learning a lot of things, especially in spirituality that can become physical.
Right. Agreed. 100% agreed. Yeah, crazy. So let me get to some other pictures, but let me just take a look in the chat because I can't see the chat when these things are up. Otherwise, I'd have to keep them really small, and I wouldn't be able to see them. Um, hello, guys. Again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Love you all so much. Um, uh, Browndorf wants to know if you have any videos or pictures. He actually also asked if you have the original color photos of these two.
Yeah, you know what? The original color photos, it's all in. This is kind of funny because it's all in predominantly birch woods, which is white, and they're dark. So it looks like black and white, but it is, there is probably some color in there. It was taken in April before a lot of the stuff bloomed on trees and things like that.
Gotcha.
But I
Gotcha.
definitely do.
Mike. Yes, brother, I do. Oh, gosh. Kyle, remember protection prayers work. Absolutely agree with you. I think there's a lot of ways you can go about protecting yourself with these things, right? So, whether you're a Catholic, a Christian, a Buddhist, whether you are whether you practice Wicca, um, there's so many different ways to protect yourself against this stuff, right? And I think a lot of it comes from belief in that protection. Belief is a powerful thing. There's also other physical things that you can do, right? So, like before, we went to Freetown State Forest, which is a known very dark area, and malevolent stuff going on there, and all kinds of bad juju. One of the things that I did was I went to the local shop, the crystal shop, and I bought all 3 of us bracelets that had 3 different crystals on it, and each crystal was does something to repel negative or dark energy. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to protect yourself with these things, and it's important that you do them if you're going up against anything that you're not sure about.
Mhm.
The first thing I would tell anybody is if you're new and you don't know what you're doing, I mean, really know what you're doing, don't go up against anything like that. Just stay away. Um, but if you're going to, then it's super important that you do these things to, to protect yourself. And that's not everything. Again, there's good things out there. There's bad things out there, but we never know until we get there, right? Somebody could say they didn't have anything happen at a certain area. You go there, and then all of a sudden, you walk away with some kind of dark attachment. I mean, this is just another thing that we just don't understand fully. Um, but yeah, let me get some more of these pictures up. God, they need to make an easier way to do this because this is just a pain in
One
the
thing,
ass.
one thing I'd like to say, Kyle,
Yeah, go
if
for it,
people
man.
if people want to go out there and uh, you're not gonna actually go chase and find one, I would pop up a bonfire, have fun, be civil, and just be full of joy and happiness, and they'll come right up to your campfire if they're in the area. But the biggest thing is I would go out with peace, love, and respect. You have those three things in your mind and in your heart, then usually you won't have any issues. But at the same time, I always do say use great discernment when you're out there. Be on guard.
Agreed. Totally
Yeah.
agree. One of the things I was talking about with somebody just recently. We've talked about it a few times, I think, on the show. Um, I think one of the greatest ways to entice something to come in is exactly what you talked about. Have some people gathered around a fire, having fun, enjoying themselves. Listen to some music, cook some food, play some music, sing, whatever. I think those things intrigue anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Um,
Right.
they're gonna want to. They're gonna want to know, and I think that's a great point you made.
What's
Um,
interesting is when I do these podcasts out here, and especially when it gets dark, I have a 4 foot light bar that I fire up. Every show, almost, people see things in the background, eye shine, stuff moving around. I was on Red Creek Mafia last night,
I
and
watched.
yeah, they were seeing some stuff in the background. That was funny.
I know.
But
Mike said he saw. He said he saw you on another show too, where he was like, "There was all kinds of stuff moving behind you, man. It's not like they're even trying to hide."
no, but I'm pretty sure they know what I'm talking about. Maybe they're a little bit excited about me getting out some information about them because there's a lot of channels that promote terror on these. Um, I call them people, because they do have human DNA. So, plus I know a bit more about them to an extent, about
Sure.
90% on this one. So, but either way, that's the way you have to approach this whole subject matter. Because, if you're going to be in a fear based deal or extremely defensive, you're not going to have an encounter that's going to be good if you even
Yeah,
have one.
yeah, agreed. Agreed. And you're not the first person that said that to me either. I remember Al Santoriga said that to me a long time ago. He said, I won't take anyone with me out on an expedition if they have any kind of fear because
Mhm.
either it ends badly or we don't get any activity, and that's not what we're trying to do. So,
Simple
uh,
fact, the dog can sense fear on you, I mean, so you
sure,
can imagine.
sure. So, what's this picture we're looking at now? To me, this looks like some kind of claw, hand print,
Yeah.
something.
At first it looks like claw marks that are on there. So at the top of the photo, above that lighter, I use a lighter, a full-size big lighter for reference on how big that is. If you zoom in on that photo, where you see lines are not claw marks in the dirt. Those are raised dirt impressions. So what happened was something that had a palm and long fingers, which I think was a DM because it looks like four. It put its hands down and it closed its fingers like this and it raised the dirt there because it was kind of deceiving at first, but when I really looked at the track, all those lines are actually not carved in the dirt; they're raised up.
Okay, I see what I see what you're saying now.
So you see the impression of 4 fingers there, and then a palm underneath it.
Jeez Louise, man. That looks like a pretty gosh darn big friggin' hand.
That's a hand. If that's a DM hand, that's a big DM.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get a judge of how big that would be if that lighter.
You know how big your hand would be in that lighter. Now look at the print.
Yeah. I feel like that. I feel like that hand looks bigger than my hand. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty right. It's
Okay.
almost twice as big because those fingers are long.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get a judgment on. I don't have a lighter near me right now. I mean, I kind of, I know how small they are, but
There you
yeah, okay. Um, hold on one second. Let me. Yeah, all right. Yep, that makes sense. Crazy, man. Crazy. Um, you always need an extra fat blunt. Am I right? Oh, that's great. Um, yeah. Salty. Yeah, I understand, buddy. It's tough. He says it's tough experiencing this stuff and not describing it to my wife because I don't want to scare her. Um, yeah, totally, man. I get that. I think a lot of people run into to this problem. I think people run into all kinds of problems when it comes to this stuff, right? You
go.
you can't talk to your significant other, your friend, your whatever, because they don't believe. They're gonna think you're crazy. They're gonna brush it off. They're gonna tell you, it's nothing. Or like what Salty's saying, they will believe you, and it'll frighten them to their core. Um,
It will.
yeah, these are all these are issues that we have with this stuff, along with many other things. Trying to navigate this stuff can be very difficult, and it's tough because I've seen people and I've talked to people who said that when the stuff started happening to them, they didn't believe, and then all of a sudden they couldn't not believe. They just were there was too much that then or they finally saw something, and now they had to believe, and because of that it changed their whole world. And when you have something that does that to you, it's so powerful. And it ended up well, with this person I'm thinking of, it ended up like ruining their relationship because they wanted to find out more. They wanted to be able to talk about this stuff, and their significant other was just like, you're you're crazy. Like you're too obsessed about it and blah blah blah. And so I mean, these things are difficult, man. And until the truth is really out there, and I mean really out there, not just in a community like this with people who believe and who know. I mean in general public, until the truth is out there in the general public, there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be issues that arise. There's always going to be difficulties. It's just one of those obstacles that we face, and then you just have to learn how to navigate about it for now, and probably for the long foreseeable future. Unfortunately,
Well, Kyle, do you think that you're a human being with a spirit?
of course I do.
Well, that's wrong.
Really?
You're first a spirit with a human vessel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. All right. So yes, you're right. Agreed.
Because we live in this world, my friend, and we're really programmed into it. So
Mm.
when these people have some of these encounters and they become obsessed with it, it jumps their spirit. They get the knack for wanting to know the truth in that area, which is far adverse from what we deal with day in and day out in the worldly world. So that's why that happens.
Yeah. I agree. And excuse me. Sorry. Um, I agree. You're right. This is all. This here. This is all just a facade. This is what carries the important part, right? And then,
Yeah.
whatever happens to that after this is done, um, a lot of people will tell you different things, and everybody kind of has their own belief system. Um,
Which is
uh,
good.
yeah, yeah, of course it is, right? This is what makes the world turn, right? Is that everybody has you're entitled to your own opinions, you're entitled to your own beliefs. Um,
Right.
I believe that this isn't the end. That when this goes away, that it's not the end. I don't know how it continues, but I believe it continues. I had a psychic medium that told me that we have multiple lives, and that throughout these lives we run into other souls or spirits over and over, that we've had in our past lives, and they play different roles in each life. And that, yeah, it could be a possibility. I mean, it's just, again, so much stuff that that we don't know. And I would love to find out, which is why I continue to do this. Why I continue to read and watch the documentaries and watch the shows and listen to people like yourself, because everyone's got something to share. Everyone's got something to teach. Um,
Yes.
and man, I was once told, um, you got two ears and one mouth for a reason,
Yeah.
so you could listen twice as much as you talk. And
Right.
yeah, and so when someone's got something to share, like yourself, man, I'm all ears, dude. I am all ears.
Best way to
Fresh
be.
Fresh says, just imagine coming back here. No, thank you.
Coming back where? Here?
To this earth, I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know. Not the way it's going.
No. No, it'd have to be purified before that happened.
Yeah, so, something's got to change, man. Something's got to change. Um, all right, let me get another one of these pictures up here. Uh, where is
Can
it?
you see the numbers on the photos you got?
I can. Unfortunately, some of them are not showing up again, and I don't know why.
There you go. I was just thinking about that one.
Okay, so go ahead. Oh, so hold on. Let me go back to number 9.
Actually, if you got number 8, that'd be better. Should be
Let me
near.
see. I don't know. Nope. It goes from 15 to 10 to 9.
Yeah, okay, it's all
Some
mixed
of
up.
them wouldn't load again, and I have no idea why.
Yeah. Okay, well, this photo here, I was behind my house, about 15 minutes to a river, and I was going through the woods, and there was a open area where there was a bunch of 4-foot ferns, as I call it the fern grove. And I thought it was really neat. So I went through and I turned around and I crouched down to take a photo, a pretty cool nature photo of it. And I
Yep.
had no idea that that was behind me. That right there where it's standing was the trail that I just came out of before I crossed the forest, the fern grove. So I have the suspicion that it was following me. And here you can see I did a red outline around the body. But if you look at the photo carefully and you zoom in on the top of its head, this is a dogman that's 95% cloaked. You could see the top of its skull and 2 ears, the brow ridge, and one eye socket. And then the rest of it down is totally blurred out. And the blurring on it really matches the back foliage that it's standing in front of. So it gives a good depiction on how they can cloak that way. I don't know if that's a full cloak, because I heard fully cloaked you would end up never seeing anything. But with the original photo, you can see a blurred outline of a humanoid, but I did it in red so that you can see it a lot easier. But the next photo that you had up will show it without the outline, and you can still see it right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Is that an ear that's
Yeah, there's an
catching
ear.
the highlight from like the sun or something up top right there?
On the very top, yeah, you'll see actually 2 ears and the top half of a skull all the way down to the brow, and then a little bit of an eye socket.
Huh.
And from the height of that, I would guesstimate that I was around somewhere between 8 and 10 feet tall.
Jeez
And
Louise.
even in the blurred part right underneath the brow, you can kind of see what looks like a muzzle. So it's another photo. If you guys want to screenshot that and blow it up, look at it closer, you'll see the stuff that I'm talking about.
That's so crazy, man. So crazy. Because I can see what you're talking about with the ear. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm not the best at this. I'm having a hard time seeing any definition in the face, but I can see what looks like an
No,
ear and what looks like the crown of the head.
that's all you're gonna see, because that's the part that did not cloak. The rest is blurred out. There's like a arcing white. You see that one fern deal that's right pointing towards its head.
Yeah.
At the end of there, there's like a little light arc. That's the beginning of where everything cloaks down underneath it. And
So weird.
that little arc is part of the fern there. It just happens to be bright from the light.
So weird, man. So weird.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy when I found out that it was on the same path that I just came out of. So,
So, yeah, I'm sure. God, that's gotta be scary. Knowing
but
that you're.
I never like with every encounter or situation here, we never felt terror, doom, dread, fear, nothing, no aggression, nothing like that. So apparently, it just followed me just to follow me. I had no
Yeah.
idea it was there.
Well, see that's good. That you're not having to deal with anything that's negative or malevolent, man. I'm glad that that's not happening to
Yeah.
you guys because that's just nothing that anybody wants to ever have to deal with. But yeah, Fresh wants to know: are you subscribing to the belief that what we are dealing with is supernatural?
100%.
Yeah,
And then, when you think of supernatural, it's kind of a vague topic. Um, the Dogman and the Sasquatch can apparently, like, there's tracks that been out in the middle of field, and there's trees 100 yards away, and 360 around the tracks, and all of a sudden the tracks end, and it's like, where did it go? And so they have the ability to seem to slip in and out of our dimensions. So that's why I look at it more as spiritual, because the only thing I can cross reference it to is something similar to angels. Angels are spiritual entities, but they could manifest in the flesh, and they have been here before.
sure have.
So this is the exact same thing, it seems to me, that they can do. Because how do they do half the stuff most of the footprints and things that I only find one. It could be in the winter time and there's 3 feet of snow and there's only one footprint. How do
Hmm.
you get that?
Yeah, again, that's another common thing that happens. I mean, with one of the prints that I found, there was a solo print, just one. There was no others. Um, the substrate wasn't great for it, but it definitely could have left more, especially with the weight that I'm
Oh,
assuming
yeah.
some of these things carry. But no, there was just one. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird.
But it matches. So far that's the only thing I found that would match their supernatural effects. It's
Yeah,
angelic stuff. Then that's going into a spiritual realm.
and
So
that's that word supernatural. Our good friend Fresh, he's a cunning linguist. Um,
yes.
he's very good with words, right? And we had a discussion one day about this, and what did I think they were? What did he think they were? And supernatural was the word that I landed on. I believe it's what he said he thought also. Um, if you break the word down, supernatural meaning they're natural beings able to live in the natural world with super abilities, right? So they can live in this world. They can also live in the other world because they have super abilities. So they can be here as a natural, living, breathing being, leaving footprints, leaving hair, leaving scat, or they can use these super abilities to hide all that if they want to.
True. And so where I'm at on this, and keep in mind that no matter how I'm starting to view something, I always keep an open mind, and possibilities could change my whole directive.
Yeah.
But I've did a lot of research on that fact. What are they? And I came up with my own conclusions, and then I actually came across someone else who actually did the same thing, and they had the same output. So I'm not going to hang my hat on that, but as far for now, until something different occurs or I learn more, it appears that they may have been created by the creator, by God, and that they are guardians of the earth. And how they don't want nothing to do with people and things is a situation, maybe some laws that have them bound. And at some point in time in the future, from what I understand, that hand of binding them will be lifted, and they're going to annihilate anything that denies love. That would be something extremely evil. And there's a lot of people in the world that don't have soul. I can go deep into that one day, but and there's like thousands of different categories of those types of humans, I would say. But it's my belief that um, when the hand is lifted off of them and they're going to go take care of those type of individuals, that there's nothing on earth that can stop them. I mean, I've heard many reports about how the Sasquatch can be like 7 levels deep past in security, hanging out inside nuclear power plants and stuff. So it's with their abilities and the things they would do, and then just bullets don't seem to work against them. People are going to be really hard pressed if they're on the list,
Yeah,
But
sure.
that's where I'm coming up with nowadays. But like I said, I'm probably around 90% into believing that might be possible. But I still keep an open mind because this is a very vague subject, and uh, everyone who's involved with this, like you, like me, and a whole bunch of other people, we're all bringing information to the table, and I'm open minded to hear whatever anybody else has to say or ideas they have as well. But like I said earlier, a lot of the supernatural stuff matches spirituality that I've seen so far, and that's the road that I took on this.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Linda, no, Darkwoods is not single. Um, his his lovely lady Primal Cry is in the chat tonight. Also, Fresh is not single. He's my hetero life mate. Um, boy, just kidding. Only a little bit.
You caught me off guard,
Let me get another picture up here. I think that was all from this group. Oh no, here we go. There's another print.
Okay, so this originally I thought was a 23-inch footprint that I found back behind the house.
Yep.
And it actually, because I had a professional tracker look at it, and he believes that it's about 26 inches long. So by this, next to the house, we have a log road that logging equipment came down through, and they logged out just a small section of woods back there for some reason.
Yeah.
And this happened to be in that area because it's hard to find tracks when you got 6 inches of pine needles all over the place. But In this photo, you can see there's a bunch of dead plant material debris laying around because this was in April. I believe this was April 20th that I took this photo, probably 2020. And this the ground here is actually on a 45-degree angle because of some excavating equipment that came through and left big ruts. So it stepped on the side of a rut. And near the base of the tape measure that's orange, you'll see all the toes, and they kind of look like they slid down a little bit because of the angle of the dirt.
Yeah.
And all that dead plant material you can see is not in the print, so it's stuck to the bottom of its foot. But you know what's really interesting is in the middle of that print, there is a diagonal line that goes across that shows a mid-tarsal joint or break is what they call it. And so that part where the joint is on the bottom of the foot didn't stick to that. The plant material didn't stick to that. So it left that line right there. And that's really good evidence on that was, and as big as it was, I believe I caught a photo of that. I sent that one photo to you, but when I caught that photo, there was a dead birch next to it with a busted top. And I was able to measure how tall it was and then how big that was in the photo. So I believe this guy left this footprint because the photo or the Sasquatch photo that I did the measurements with, it turns out to be somewhere between 13 and 14 foot tall. So that's over 2,000 pounds, you know.
Oh
A
my
huge
goodness.
guy.
That's monstrous. That is monstrous. That's so big, man.
It is a big one.
Man, I just, that always gets me. And I always say it over and over. If you ever think about the height, and I know I'm a broken record, but it's, to me, it's like to try to get the reference out to people to really understand, like, your ceilings in your house are 8 feet tall. When you walk in your house and you look straight up, I mean, imagine that's somebody's face. That's friggin' tall.
Yeah,
Now,
8 feet tall.
yeah, now imagine 10 feet. You ever seen a basketball hoop? That rim is 10 feet. Okay. It takes a super athletic 6 foot man to have a very good leaping ability to jump and dunk a basketball on 10 feet. Okay.
Yeah,
He has to jump to dunk a basketball to get his hands high enough to throw something through that hoop at 10 feet. That's tall. 13 to 14 feet is a monster.
it's a
It's so big.
when you look at the photo that I had of that, you can see one of its hands. It's almost a fist, but it's kind of loose. And you can see the fingers. I could take all four of my fingers together in a wad, and it doesn't come close to how big one of its fingers is.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. It's like two bananas together.
Yeah, definitely. Just it's just outrageous, you know. It's hard to believe.
Absolutely. I have to address this real quick. Miss Mary sent me a comment not too long ago. I forget what video it was even on, but I have to tell you, I don't know if you saw the reply to your comment. I laughed so hard at that comment. I hope you remember which one it is. It was absolutely hilarious. It was also very kind, so thank you. But I laughed so hard. I'm not going to repeat it here, but it was.
I don't even remember what you're talking about. There,
No, I
they
was
have
just.
a zillion comments out there.
No, I was just. One of the ladies here had left me a comment not too long ago about one of the videos, and it was very, very funny. So she's here, and I just wanted to let her know that I laughed incredibly hard at it. It was really, really good. Here, let me get. Let me go through here. Keep the eyes out of the chat. Why should I keep the eyes out of the chat? What are you guys saying about me in chat?
Oh,
Oh boy. Do I want to know? Maybe I should keep my eyes out of the chat. Michelle says she's imagining a 1,500-pound bull standing upright. Yeah, that's probably pretty close. Primal says, ask Woodz about the tan-colored forest person. I feel she gets overlooked and she's kind. Okay, what about this tan-colored forest person?
Okay, so you know Robin McCrae.
Yep.
Well, she told me her name was Shellac, and I was snowshoeing when I first moved up here, and I went that way on a diagonal to get a longer stretch before I hit the wood or the river. And I was in a really thick pine forest, and I remember looking far out ahead. Like usually, if you're walking in nature and you look way out ahead between trees, where your view of something is really small, you'll start seeing deer and things that you normally don't see, you know, so you get to see wildlife because they'll see you before you see them, you know. So I keep my
Right.
eyes way out there. But I remember seeing what I thought was a brown bear. It was on all fours, but I could only see like the midsection towards the back. And when it was walking, it took one of its back foot and something must have stuck on it and it was shaked it, you know, and then it started walking some more. And then later on, I'm thinking, what the heck? There's no brown bears up here. There's only black bear up here. And from what I understand, from what Robin says, it's probable that's who that was that I saw, you know, but I never got to see the face. But it was pretty big. Yeah, I'll tell you that. And but yeah, she's definitely just like a lot of the other forest people here. They seem to know, like she knows my past history for somehow, and she told me that everything would be all right and to let go of a lot of stuff and things, you know. So this is transmuted from her to Robin while I was talking to Robin on the phone. And what was funny was I was in my truck talking to her on the phone about shellac,
Yep.
and she goes, "Oh, there's a bunch of them that know we're talking and they're interested." At the same time, I'm looking because it's nighttime and there's only one street light on the corner down there, and I can
Yeah.
see light through the woods. So right before she said that, I'm watching a bunch, like a whole bunch, more than two handfuls of things blocking out light moving between trees. And then she said that, and I'm like, oh my God, it's happening right here, right now, you know. So obviously there's a lot of forest people that were interested. It seems like every time, when Robin's involved, they're all connected to her, and get a lot of information that way.
Yeah, she's got a gift, that's for sure. She's got a
She
gift.
should.
Um uh Carson, take care, brother. Thank you for stopping in, buddy. Always appreciate you being here, man. Always do. Thank you. Um Let me get one of these pictures, another picture up. They really have to figure this out. I don't know why they make this so darn
Ah, see,
difficult.
good practice.
It's good. Yeah, you're right. It is good practice. I just hate having it be such a pain in the ass. Um, and I'm going to go back because I just got a couple other pictures to come up. So this is not in order. So we're going to go back to picture number one of the dog man. And then, because this is the color picture that
Yeah.
a couple people were asking about.
Okay.
So I want to go back to that because I finally got it to pop up. And it is right here.
It looks like I'm driving a car.
There you go, right there. Yeah. So this is the color picture for those of you who are asking for the original with no filter or anything. As you can see, there's the picture on the right, number one, the circle, which looks to be the dog man's head, and then all the way to
Yep.
the left, number two, looks to be the smaller one.
Yep. And so number 3, I believe, is a male dogman. He's built like Schwarzenegger. He's got a massive chest, huge traps, big arms. And then right behind him, number 4 circle is I believe it's a male Sasquatch, but it's a Sasquatch, and it has a conical head. And you can actually see the wrinkles on its forehead, and he's massive. So this is another photo if you guys want to screenshot it or do whatever. And then you obviously, because it's copies of copies, there's going to be some digital degradation going on with that. Every time you make a copy, it gets worse and worse.
Sure.
But whatever the case is, you should be able to get a good. It's not too hard to see what I have in there as far as what's circled. But that's the order. Number 1 is the female dogman. 2 is the pup. 3 is the male dogman, which I believe, and 4 is a Sasquatch. The third one was hard to tell because most of its head was behind a tree, but I mean, you could see a hand at the end of his arm. It looks like it has long fingers. So,
All right.
yeah.
I'll leave that up for a minute so you guys can look at that. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you think that it's possible that in some instances that there are Sasquatch, different varieties of Sasquatch that look more like a baboon and that people are confusing with Dogman? Now, I'm not saying that they're a Dogman, but do you subscribe to that belief that there are different types? I mean, I don't think that's even a question, really. I'm sure there are different types of Sasquatch depending on where you are in the world, where you are in the United States. We know that the sizes vary from the north to the south usually, and that. But do you believe that there are some that potentially look like Dogmen in the sense that they have that more baboonish, extended snout?
Yeah, there is definitely some that's been reported to be like a Bigfoot with a dogman head on it. Some people actually think they look more like a bear with a canine head. I've
Mm,
heard that before too. So I mean, what's interesting is the Dogman and the Sasquatch have human DNA in them for sure. That's been already noted. So just like people, everybody don't look the same. Everybody's got different characteristics. Some are really adverse, in just humanity. And I can imagine the same thing follow suit with the forest people.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree. You get so many reports of them. I remember I don't know if you're familiar with it. I think it's pretty famous at this point, but I know it's hard to keep up with all the different pictures. But do you remember the picture of the Beast of Seven Shoots? Does that ring a bell? Remember that
Yep.
picture? To
Yep.
me, when I looked at that picture, that's what I saw. I saw what looked to be like more of a baboon snout.
Now, see, from what I understand, that kind of fits in a category of a gugwe,
Yeah,
and
right.
you also got the Genoskas,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, the
But the
Janoska.
Gugways, yeah, the Janaska. The Gugways, well, I guess they're both pretty ill-tempered, but the Gugwe are highly skilled at hunting. They'll follow you if you're pursuing one. They'll find a way to follow you, and you won't even know it. And from what I heard, uh, a sure sign that you may have a Gugwe around is if you see a deer or something smash flat like a pancake for no reason in the dirt, like horribly smashed. They just killed to kill. And I also do know they do wear some kinds of furs sometimes. Um, I know the Sasquatch don't like them at all. So, and I think if I'm not mistaken, some of the native tribes here called the Gugway, those were called the face eaters. So that gives you an idea of their temperament.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's not something you want to run across.
Nope, I'm good. I'm all set. I'll stick to my Sasquatch. Thank you very much. Ay, ay, ay. The face eaters. That's wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you guys are looking for some plastic surgery, you're not happy with the way you look, there's a free way to get some. Go find a face eater.
I don't know if
Um,
you want that kind of face surgery.
all right, and then this is the other picture that came up. Number
So
13.
remember that 23 to 26-inch footprint that I showed you?
Yes.
So I was snow blowing. That's part of the driveway at curves where that red circle is to the right. So it
Yeah.
goes farther. But I was snow blowing my driveway because up here we get a lot of snow. And I took a picture of it. And when I looked at the photos, because after talking with Robin and finding other things in photos, we busted out all the photos we ever had of Woodz. And this is where I found a photo of that 13 to 14 foot Sasquatch. It's circled in red there. He's looking between the trees. And that's about 20 feet away from the driveway. So I would go down around that curve and come back up and blow. And I never knew it was there. I wonder if it was entertained by watching all the snow flying out of the blower, or whatever I was doing. But I
Yeah,
have some other,
possibly.
yeah, I have some other photos. I don't know if you were able to upload those or not. But
I wouldn't be able to do it tonight because of this
no,
stupid
yeah.
program that I have on here. This is such a crappy laptop, man. I need something better.
But
I'm
either
at,
way, that's where I seen that Sasquatch. So,
okay.
and that was in the same year that I found the footprint. It just happened to be wintertime during that time because the footprint I found in spring.
Oh man, that's crazy. It's too bad you didn't see this sooner. You weren't able to go out in the woods and see if there was any left in the snow. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah, exactly.
that's how it
But I
works.
wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there was no footprints
yeah, I wouldn't either, man. I wouldn't
because
either.
they move in the trees as easy as they do on the ground. And I already had an experience where we got booted out of a bonfire because I made a call blast. And I went back the next day. We had 3 feet of snow, and there was not a single track anywhere. And what happened? It sounded like we were surrounded by them. And then I had some unusual sounds that came after Primal Cry went in the house, and I stayed back. And yeah, it was very messed up. But
We
it was my introduction into understanding them. And after that, we had a lot more actually humorous encounters with them.
it's um I agree 100% that they move just as good in the trees as they do on their feet. I think they move even better on all fours. Um, and there's videos that prove that they purposely do everything they can to mask their tracks when they leave them. There's that video from upper Minnesota, out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, like literally the middle of nowhere. And it's a 2 mile or 3 mile trackway. It goes on for 2 or 3 miles, this trackway. In 3 to 4 feet of snow, these snowmobilers got lost. They were literally like, I mean, they were in the middle of nowhere, 3 or 4 feet of snow out in the woods of Minnesota, out by the border of Canada. There's no one, nothing out there for miles and miles and miles. They come across these tracks, they follow them, and even when there's no population around, nobody's going to be in those woods. The only reason these guys were is because they went the wrong way. Um,
Yeah.
and that whatever left these footprints was still purposely trying to hide them. Anytime there was a log that they could walk on, they would walk on it. There was even evidence of them, like possibly jumping to rocks that didn't have snow on them, that they could hide their prints there. I mean, that to me speaks to a level of intelligence that is just, yeah, it's unmatched in nature. There's just nothing out there like it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing too. I don't know if they do it so much in the snow, but when there's no snow, you're not going to be walking around looking for tracks of just the tips of your fingers and the tips of toes,
Mm,
because they've been known to spider crawl, like lay flat and just move with their fingers and toes, kind of like Fred Flintstone, and back in the old cartoons.
yep.
But they would be able to move really fast just on their fingers and toes and be just a couple of inches off the ground. And
Yeah.
how are you gonna be mindful to look for impressions like that? I
Yeah.
bet a lot of people skip those.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. There's another video that I watched not too long ago of one that was spider crawling in like a set of rocks somewhere out in the Midwest.
Oh, wow.
And it's such a crazy movement. I mean, it's like it's so hard to describe. Nothing should be able to move that quickly on their fingertips and toes, especially something that's so big, but they do. It's really, really creepy stuff. Um, Let me get some more pictures up here. Mm-mm-mm-mm. No, not that one. I need this one. I think this is the last one that came up. No, that's not it. Where is it? Hold on one sec, guys, because it's not coming up. Let me see if I can resend it again. Let me see if I. Okay, I'm gonna resend it because it's not coming up. Where are you? Not, 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 not. And is it there yet?
You'll be a professional at that soon, Kyle.
Oh, I know I will. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these two just came up now. What in the holy hell was that? I don't know what that was.
Something happening over there?
Something outside.
Hmm.
I heard it, and then the cat jumped right off my lap into the could just be one of the cats that I feed outside coming early. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. All right, here we go. And this is the last two that'll come up, unfortunately.
But
The other ones would not load. Okay, here we go. Can you see that?
so that picture, that circle at the end of the driveway I was talking about with that tall Sasquatch,
Yes.
that is the image of it. And I did yellow for around the body and red for the trees. There is split trees that it was looking through. And you ever blow up the original photo where the driveway was, you'll see how it blends into the pine trees really good. I didn't even know it was there. But apparently it was sitting there watching me. But according to the yellow outline, you can see the head is just a little blip on its shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and they all obviously have a neck, but this one doesn't have a head that predominantly sticks out. It's more like a no neck type. It's got massive shoulder muscles, traps, and its head sunken in. But in between the tree, you can actually see its face. You can see half of the cheek from the light reflecting as the sun was going down, and parts of the jaw. But down there on what would be his right hand, which seems lower than the left one because the way it was standing, that's where you can see those big, massive fingers curled up.
It's weird. I'm having a hard time with separating it from the trees, but I guess that's kind of part of what they do. They blend
Yeah,
in
it is
very.
what they do. But now the original photo that I have, one of the photos I sent, yeah, like that one. If you zoom in on there, you'll see both hands. Like if you seen the outline, you use that as a reference. But you'll first thing you'll see is one of the hands I was talking about and how it's curled up and it's a big fist. Then when you go up the shoulder, you'll see between the trees a faint image of one side of its face from the light hitting it, and the
Yeah,
other hand is
I might be seeing what you're talking about, where there
yeah.
might be like a dark eye socket.
You know what's nice? If you take these images and if you got a big screen TV, you
Yeah,
put it on there and you'll be stunned. I
yeah,
guarantee you. You'll see it.
much better to look on a bigger screen. Obviously, easier to see. Um, but yeah, just it's really crazy stuff, man. It's all so compelling. I don't, you know, I, I've wished for so long to have a place that is private land that has stuff going on, and to finally
Yeah.
potentially have that now is so exciting. Although I don't know how I'd feel if it was my own house that this was happening at. Um,
Well, it would depend on the characteristics of the type of forest people there. If they're
sure.
like the ones that are here, we just live our day just like nothing, like they're not even here, but we know they coexist. Sometimes we'll see them. Like last night, Mike from Red Creek Mafia right away saw something blurry running super fast this way.
Mm.
And over this way, we have a garden. Actually, we etched out a garden here on the side of the logging road where you can get sun in the forest. That was kind of a tough task to do. And Primal Cry, she's got a big green thumb. She loves being out there. It's her peace and joy, in the morning and stuff. And she was out there and she actually seen one of the dogmen step out of the tree line from where the road is and all of a sudden take off and it ran this way. And she said it ran so fast she couldn't even keep up with it with her eyes. It was incredible how fast it ran. It was a blur.
Yeah, I've heard
So
this
I mean,
many times, man. Many times. People
stuff
can.
like that happens, not daily, but usually when you least expect it, all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, it's the physical capabilities are just they're incredible. You hear people talk about that they move like cartoons. They're so fast, like Speedy Gonzalez when he turns into that like tornado, and it's just a blur. Um,
Yeah.
hear that so often. It's amazing when you think about it. When they're so big and they're so heavy that they can move like that. To me,
Or
that
and
just
super silent. They
what's
could
that?
even move they could even move super silent, as big and heavy as they are.
Right.
They could move through trees as big as heavy as they are. They're not dropping bark. They're not busting. Well, sometimes I hear branches breaking. I don't know if they deliberately do that to let me know they're there, but I do hear that, at times.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question that's on the screen right now. Do large adults travel among the trees as well? They could be upwards of 1,000 pounds. That sounds risky. Um, I guess it depends on where you land on this topic, and if you believe in them having supernatural abilities.
Yeah.
Obviously, 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds of weight just swinging from trees in certain areas and certain trees wouldn't work out. It just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Not from a natural standpoint. Branches would be breaking. These things would be falling from the sky. Um, it also, if you're talking about the Pacific Northwest, where there's giant, giant, giant trees all over the place. I'm talking monsters. These trees are something out of Jurassic Park, and they're all over the place. The branches on those things could easily hold 1,000 pound creature. They're just monstrous. Um, and now in the forest here, there's no way 1,000 pound creature is going to be swinging from the trees here, and most of them anyway. Not unless it has the ability to change its makeup physically somehow.
Yeah.
And what that is, I don't know the exact answer. But it when you continue to have these strange things happen, one footprint in a whole field of snow, a set of tracks that leads out into the middle of nowhere and then just stops, and there's 300 yards to the wood line all around it. Well, where did it go? Where'd it
Yeah.
go? You know, it's not. I don't think. I don't care what anyone says. The physical ability of one of these things, they ain't jumping 300 yards. That's for sure.
No,
Um,
no. They could
so
jump far, but no, I don't think that far. But
no,
you
not
never
that
know.
far. But
I've actually heard from Robin that they actually can fly. So I don't know. It's weird.
again, yeah, but just there's so many theories, so
Yeah.
many, and just not enough physical evidence to really say for sure. So
Now,
we just,
speaking of physical evidence, Cry pointed this out to me once when we had the dog out because we go out in the woods,
yeah,
you could do our business. But we have some white pine and red pine, and they're really big and they're really tall. Pine obviously is a super strong wood, but the girth of some of these trees are pretty big. So they could sustain some good weight. But she noticed that you could see one big pine here, and you could see bark missing more so up top and branches busted. Then when you look at the next tree, you could see the same thing, and you can follow a path through the woods of something that went through. And it's not a scenario where you had an ice storm and some branches broke and whatever, because it'd be sporadic and all throughout the woods. But this was linear from tree to tree to tree to tree, and you can see an actual path that goes through. So we started recently looking for that kind of evidence as well,
hmm,
because you can see disturbances on the bark, you can see branches broke that are fresh, and it's like, where did that? How did that happen? And like half the time when I'm out here, sometimes I'll hear calls. A lot of times I'll hear branches busting. I actually got a video where I call blasted some in the morning because I saw some shadows moving around down by the tree bases down there that were pretty big. And I was trying to get a response. And the humor of them, they didn't do anything. So I gave up and I went to walk from the back of the house up towards the front. And when I did that, then they did give me a reaction and they slowly broke a massive limb down. Crack, 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 crack. You know? So
unbelievable, man.
yeah, it's they're very interesting, to say the least. They do have a sense of humor,
Um,
which I find interesting.
yeah, it's nuts. But again, right? So my whole thing doesn't matter what I believe, doesn't matter what I even say or what I may have seen or heard. Um, it's so frustrating that at the end of the day, we're only left with those things. We're only left with our theories, our accounts, our stories. Um, God, I wish there was a way that some of this could be um, that we could, fast forward this to a place where we found out just a little bit. I don't need to know it all. I don't want to know it all because then that takes some of the fun away. But just to know a little bit more, like I mean, know it for sure. Uh,
Well,
it-
Kyle, look at it from a whole different end that you're looking at. Be happy and grateful for any information and
oh,
all
sure,
information
yeah,
you get.
I am.
Yeah,
I am
because
absolutely.
think about this: if someone told you and never had any of those experience or information that you've gained all these years, and you're like, oh yeah, Bigfoot, whatever, it's just a name. You're that much farther ahead. So we're on the progressive lines of understanding this. Me, you, on a whole slew of people, people on YouTube that have channels and stuff, people in Facebook and groups and things. And, eventually we're all going to get the answers, but we've accumulated a lot of data. And I think that's awesome. And there's some things that seem pretty far out there. There's some people who still are stuck on a flesh and blood thing. But at the end of the day, everyone has a piece of information. And if you have an open mind and I think armchair researching on a computer, you can find gold nuggets. It might pertain to things that you've experienced yourself, and you can verify things now. So there's a whole gamut. We came a long way compared to like 1970,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
For sure. Yeah, we have. You're right, and I am grateful. I hope I don't want to come off like I'm not. I am grateful. I just there's that thing inside of me that still just burns to
it's
know more, right? And
yeah,
that's why we do this, is because we want to know more. We want to have those interactions and activity and all this stuff. It's why we continue to do this. And then there's that part of me that says, man, would it really be that fun anymore if we knew it all? And I don't know that it would. I think it would end up just becoming just another thing, another normalcy in our lives. And I don't want this to become that. But I do wish I could. I do wish I knew that one little bit that can they teleport? Do they change their physical shape for sure? Can they manipulate this, that, and the third? That's the thing I want to know.
well,
Everything
I'll
else
tell
can
you,
remain hidden.
I'll tell you what, Kyle. Once you get some of those answers, I can guarantee you're gonna have 1,000 more questions. It never ends.
I'm sure. I'm sure I will. I am
But don't be
absolutely
so
sure I
don't
will.
be so frustrated because you're gonna. It's a thing, I mean, like I said, I've advanced. I had so many different beliefs and understandings, and then something happens, and I had to change my whole perspective on what I was thinking. And that's really critical to have an open mind on this subject matter because you think you got a grip on it, and all of a sudden something different occurs, and it throws everything out the window. So, you know, you're always going to have questions. That's always going to happen with this. So even when let's just say the whole absolute 100% truth, you knew the whole gamut of it, I bet you'll still have a million questions.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And there are, right? I mean, there's one question precedes another question precedes another question. We can just continue going round and round in circles. But at
Actually,
the end,
we've been through that already
yeah,
with what we
right,
heard.
right, exactly, exactly. Well, man, I unfortunately the other ones wouldn't load for me, but we got through most of them. We did get to
Yeah.
see most of them. And again, this is not going to be the last time you're going to come on the show. At least I hope not. I'd like to have you back.
Anytime you want me on, that's fine by me.
I'd love to have you back on. I've been thinking about doing a small panel of like maybe three of us, maybe four of us to get together and just have a discussion about these things between, three or four people at the same time, because I think when you bring three or four people in, you have three or four different theories, opinions, beliefs, and experiences. This is when you can really kind of open up the dialogue even greater the more people you bring in. So I'd really like to do that at some point if you were up for that, man.
Yeah, I've never done that before, and that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to have you on. I think you'd be a perfect kind of person to do that with. Um, so anyway, guys, it's been another wonderful show. I appreciate you, man. You've been great. Thank you so much for everything that you brought here, the pictures, your experience, all of it. It's just been wonderful. I no shows for the rest of this week except for the weekend. Obviously, I'll be going back at what's going on back there, buddy.
Oh, I just gotta keep an eye out. It's spring, black bears.
And when you snap your head like that,
Yeah,
my first instinct is what's back there? What's going on
yeah.
back there?
It's nice when there's nothing back there.
Yeah, right. Right, right, right. Um, well, anyway, guys, no other show this week, but this weekend I'll be heading up to the property up there to do some investigating. I'm going to bring the hotspot with me, so hopefully I can live stream. I should be able to with it. I was getting 2 bars, which depending on where you are, right? I found this out. Depending on where I am, 2 bars sometimes allows me to live stream, and then other places 2 bars doesn't. Just depends. So if I was getting 2 bars without the hotspot, I think with the hotspot I'll probably get 3 or 4, which will be enough for me to live stream while I'm there. And I won't have to worry about, keeping the gentleman out of the shop because he won't be with me. So we'll be able to go take a look around more and see some of the other stuff that possibly is out in those woods that I'm really hoping to find. I'm going to set up a gifting station. I already asked. He said it was okay as long as it's, kind of back in the woods ways away from the house. And we're going to go from there. I think I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where this goes. I think it's going to be really cool. Please do me a favor. If you enjoy the show, please, 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 if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you like the show, give me the finger and smack the ding dong. If you really that means hit the thumbs up and then ring the bell. Okay, get your minds out of the gutter, people. God, get your minds out of the gutter.
I was thinking about the last time I talked to you about choking on my meat. I totally apologize for it. I didn't even know I said that way. Ding dongs and choking on meat. That cracked me up.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yep. This is what you get here on Encrypted Connections. So, yeah, please subscribe. Give me the finger. Smack my ding dong. I'll be back this weekend. Till next time, guys. I love you all. See you on the next one. Have a good night.
Take care, cat.